racing fan, live it is Between the Slicks. Your host, Lee Kraft, aka the Monday Morning Racer, coming from an undisclosed location somewhere in the state of Indiana at a motel room, once again, on the road, live, as it seems I am most of the time. I don't even know why I bother being in studio anymore. I just need a mobile studio. That's what I need at this point. Set up, pop in the motel room, and go live anytime. That looks far better than dirty drapes and headboard behind me. Yeah, quite motorsportish for sure. It is the motorsports life, motel after motel after motel until I step up to that RV. But we're glad to have you watching along. Quite the interesting show ahead of us. Sure, we're going to get to drag news. We're going to cover some topics from the Wally Parks NHRA Nostalgia Nationals, the Funny Car Chaos race there in Cordova, the Summer Nationals, and even PDRA action there at Maryland International Raceway. So a lot to cover, and a look ahead to the NHRA Summit Equipment Nationals there at Summit Motorsports Park in Norwalk, Ohio, which I will be heading to. Storylines abound, especially, I think, in the alcohol ranks looking at that event. But tonight, I'm so excited to have owner of the IHRA, Larry Jeffers, and also president of the IHRA, Mel Roth, on. We're going to be chatting with them in just a few moments. They're already in the green room, so we will be bringing them on momentarily to chat with them concerning all things IHRA. And I've been looking forward to this chat for a while. We had on right here on this show, Between the Slicks, the WDRA, when everything was transitioning and happening, rocking and rolling. We're able to speak with them on the moves they intend to make. And now we'll get the IHRA side of things as well. And then we just need someone from the NHRA and all the other alphabet soups that are out there as well in drag racing, and to see and understand what is going to be different and why in particular folks should be looking at the IHRA for drag racing and to take their race cars and to participate in that sanctioning body and what they have to offer. And I will say, when I was in junior dragsters many, many years ago now, it seems, well, it was many years ago now. I'm not going to age myself. I'm not doing that tonight. No, I'm not doing it. But when I was in junior dragsters, I preferred racing at IHRA tracks over NHRA tracks. Since the IHRA always had something about it that it was more fun, easygoing. The competitors seemed to have always got along better, and there was more camaraderie for whatever reason amongst the IHRA. And even to this day, like you go to a Funny Car Chaos event, people tend to say, oh, this reminds me of the old IHRA days and the feeling that is out there. And that, well, you look at the NHRA situation, and it's always kind of stiff and stuffy and maybe, I dare say, stuck up to some extent. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting conversation with Larry and Mel coming up in just a few moments. So let's go to the comment section before we do speak to them. And Grim, good to have you watching along. Thank you. Drag Racing Central, as customary. MMR, DRC, good to have you. Going Bracket Racing. Guys, if you are not subscribed to Going Bracket Racing, you definitely need to give them a sub and watch them on Tuesday nights as they talk about, well, what? Going Bracket Racing, and experience what they have to say and how they're saying it. And you can even watch the show on the Monday Morning Racer platform on the Facebook page on Tuesday nights. And Drag Racing Central, now you got to get Glenn Cromwell on. Yes, I do. And I've talked with Glenn about it. So get Glenn on, then we'll have the top bodies out there represented on Between the Slicks. So I've also had Tommy Franklin on, obviously owner and head of the PDRA. So, again, right here, Between the Slicks, about all of it in drag racing. Drag racing is so diverse, and it is such a wonderful sport. And I don't care if you're drag racing motorcycles down in Thailand or you're doing top fuel at the U.S. Nationals. Drag racing is cool no matter what it is. And doggone it, let's talk about it right here on Between the Slicks. Hey, I've been hanging out at McKinney Corp all week, and assisting them with social media and see if we can get that up and running and off the ground for them and help them in their business endeavors, which does go well beyond motorsports. In fact, I was having a conversation with Murph today that if that war and motorsports has done more to advance the human race than I think just about anything out there. And it is fascinating how much that from motorsports gets transferred into the automotive industry and beyond that affects our lives each and every day. So it's very cool to see that. But very thankful to McKinney Corp and helping me out this week, making, frankly, Norwalk possible for me to be there. So we're going to take a break, say thank you to them, a few others, and right after the break, we're going to bring on the owner of the IHRA, Larry Jeffers, and the president, Mel Roth, right here on Between the Slicks.
McKinney Motorsports is your #1 source for all your chassis needs. McKinney Motorsports is the leading chassis parts supplier and fabricator in nitro drag racing. From custom tanks and fittings, full chassis builds, body mounts, steering components, fasteners, tabs, clamps, composite parts, and much more. Our household name in the racing world guarantees added performance on the track. Join our list of proven winners that spans over 50 years of racing experience.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your center console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at Destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to Destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System, TDS, and steal the thieves' hope.
Well, certainly there's hope out there for the drag racing world concerning the IHRA. Larry, Mel, great to have both of you on. And let me first of all start with this and ask the question I think so many have asked, and I want an answer, Larry. Why the heck did you buy the IHRA to begin with?
I just seen a need for sportsman racers to start getting what they deserve, I thought. I've always been stereotyped as the heads-up guy and pro mod guy, and got a little track and kind of fell in love with the people, to be honest with you. The sportsman racers just, I don't know. I just like going into pits and seeing people hanging out with their families and their kids. And you don't see that anymore anywhere you go. Everybody's uptight, and you go to a racetrack and everybody's complaining about someone in the staging lanes or the person in the tower. And I don't know. I think we can do better. I think as a whole, it don't matter what series you're racing. As a whole, let's just try to do better. With appreciation. Appreciate your racetrack that you're going to every weekend. The racetracks. Appreciate the racers for being there. Everybody just seems uptight nowadays, and all that appreciation's gone. And I think we can bring it back to a family ran deal and come out there with your kids and hang out with your family and just have a good time.
Completely agree, and that's what it should be about. We are all in this to, have fun. Yes, we can make money at it. Yes, we can win trophies. Yes, we can be competitive. But at the end of the day, you got to have fun while you have done it. And certainly appreciate one another. The tracks don't have people to race, and therefore reason to exist except but by the racer. And the racer doesn't have a place to race but by the tracks being there and existent. There has to be a symbiotic well-being relationship for it all to work out.
And I just think if we get, the sportsman guy always seems like he got through to the back burner. And everybody says, oh, you guys going to bring back top fuel. You're going to bring back this. If we bring back all that stuff like that, which we don't want to do, the sportsman guy gets through on the back burner again. And that's not what we're trying to do here. Like I said, we just want a sanctioning body where people's having a good time. You know, we've been asked, hey, can you run a junior series without the, you know, the bigger cars, without, you know, that ain't what we're about. You know, we're about family. You know, the best thing in the world is to pull in them damn pits and see someone hanging out there and barbecuing with their kids, and, you know, sometimes their grandparents hanging out there. You know, that's what racing's about. Racing has gotten out of hand price wise. You know, it ain't about how fast you can go and what kind of rig you can pull in there with. Let's get back to basics. Let's get back to having a good time.
I like that stance for sure. Mel, I remember encountering you the first time with ADRL, and you have your own gig out there that runs from time to time out there in Las Vegas.
Okay.
What the heck are you doing with the IHRA, and how did this work out?
Actually, the ADRL deal was my fault. I'm the one that said, hey, man, you need to go help him. He needs some help, and that didn't work out.
So, well, once again, what Larry says, what me and Larry are all about is racing no matter what platform you're on. And for, you know, over a year, maybe a year and a half, Larry kept calling me up because
longer than that.
Longer than that. Mel, I'm going to buy the IHRA. He goes, but I ain't going to do it unless you run it. And I just, you know, yeah, I'll run it for you, Larry.
To the point where he got mad at me.
Yeah, I finally just said, hey, man, I go, just buy it already, then we'll get going on it. And he did. And like I said, we love what we're doing. And if you don't love what you're doing, if you're uptight in your job and all that, you ain't never going to be a success. These relationships we now have with our racetracks, we got over 60 racetracks. And me and Larry can pick up the phone and call every one of them. And
talk to about 3 of them a week. Call them up.
I mean, it's family. The tracks realize we're going above and beyond for them through social media, through everything we're doing. If any tracks are listening, we just sent you a whole bunch of huge IHRA decals to put up at your track. So we're going to go ahead and message you and let you know about that. But it's like me and Larry, we're racing. We're at a racetrack every single weekend, period. Doesn't make a difference. NHRA, IHRA, we're at a racetrack. We're with the people. And we love it. I mean, it's in our blood. Everything, even my kids. I mean, we're all race cars. It's absolutely nuts. And that's why when me and Larry first sat down on what we call a table.
Uh-oh. Mel blanked out.
Yeah.
It
does that time to time.
Right. Yes. Right.
Oh, hang on. Somebody called my iPad for some reason, and I don't know why. So anyway, me and Larry sat around our war table, and it's like, I mean, what do we really want to do? And what we really want to do is bring family back to the racetrack. When we go to the racetracks, everybody. I mean, we want people to have a good time. We know we can't. You're never going to please everybody. I mean, there's just absolutely zero way to do that. But if we can give them that atmosphere when they first come here to a racetrack, it's going to be harder for them to be mad or leave mad, knowing that we're in it for them. And that's what we're doing. And that's why we want to go back to the roots of the IHRA. And we're going to introduce the Hot Rod Classic, which we dropped on our Facebook page a couple weeks ago. And like I said, Larry, our crew, we'll go ahead and name our crew here in a little bit, but Larry can tell you, it's exciting having people talk about the rod classes. I mean, it's a pretty cool deal.
I'm glad there's excitement around the IHRA once again. You know, there for a while, it was like, what is the IHRA doing? Where is the IHRA going? And just
it was gone.
Yeah, floating out there in the wind. Like, what was it going to be, if anything at all? And Larry, in particular, you know, you mentioned that you've been classified as this pro mod heads up kind of guy, and a lot of folks were like, "Oh, is it going to become this pro mod centric type of sanctioning body?"
They had that all wrong,
right? And there were people also like, "Is Larry even the guy for this role? Like, should he even own it?" What do you bring to the table in owning a sanctioning body and moving it forward? Why are you the guy to move the IHRA forward to a new era that's better than it ever has been?
I think because I hired some good people. You know, if it wasn't for Mel, I probably bugged him for 3 years. You know, I'm not the guy. There's not just one guy who can do this. this is a team effort between Mel and his wife Heather and my fiance Kelly and Paige and Doug and Chris and Cody and it's everybody that loves drag racing. Everybody, you know, Cody and Doug and Paige, they love bracket racing. You know, we just all love racing. And I bought a dinosaur. I mean, I bought something that's been dead for 10 years. And I think it deserves more than what it was. So with everybody's help, you know, we're going to bring it back to, you know, something really good again. That's the plan. So.
And let's and just one, not to interrupt you. Also, we also brought an official starter in, Brad Hardy. He was an NHRA official starter for several years. So that's another key team member that we added to the IHRA. So.
Got to have key team members. It's got to be a team effort, and you got to have the right people in place to get the job done. And you know, the people that you've mentioned, I know Junior personally, and he is certainly passionate about bracket racing, but knows well beyond bracket racing as well, and is an accomplished driver and can get the job done on the drag strip as well. So you've definitely got a solid group around you for the IHRA to move forward. You all dropped this graphic not too long ago, and you know, you've got listed there, you know, top sportsman, top dragster, you know, all the rods with quick, hot, super, and all the way to junior dragster. But then there's mystery classes. That one brought a lot of attention. There was a lot of attention of people saying mystery classes. What in the world are you talking about and alluding to? Want to share with us anything on the mystery and shed some light?
There's a lot of mystery there.
Let me jump in on Larry here. Larry thought that was the stupidest thing I ever did.
I really did. When he sent me that, I'm like, what the hell are you going to do that for? And it actually turned out to be awesome. Because you got tracks. Right. Because you got tracks all over. You know what works good in North Carolina ain't going to work good in the Midwest. So kind of going to start working with the racetracks and see what they want to do. You know, we got tons of ideas and we got tons of people wanting to bring cool shit back.
Right. And we don't want to like drop any things, but what these hot rod classics are going to be all about is going to be a way for our racetracks to be able to bring in fans. Okay. Bring in fans. So a mystery class, could it be Pro Mod? It could. Could it be Scott Palmer in his Nitro Circus? It could be that. It could be anything that is, you know, it could be another no time class that's popular in the Carolinas. I mean, it could be anywhere. It could be, you know, it could be Pro Stock, Mountain Motor Pro Stock. It could be anything as long as each individual tracker is going to be in the planning stages and the planning of each one of these events. They're going to be personally tiered to these tracks. Yes, are we going to run all those classes, have national champions in all the rods classes and that? Absolutely. So we're going to start. I mean, we haven't dropped any numbers or anything, but our goal is a minimum of 10 of these in the first year. And then we also have what we call sports and spectaculars, and we're looking to increase them and rotate them with our racetracks. So all of our racetracks has a chance to get into fun. I mean, it's going to be big.
So what you're speaking of is, in essence, you got your core classes, but depending on the tracks and what they have in their area or what fits for them, they plug it in. Kind of like, you know, Funny Car Chaos, when we go around and travel, yeah, funny cars are the headliners, but there's always different classes that are there making up the show, and Eddyville is different than Cordova and the Motorplex and so on and so on. So filling in those regional flares to make for a good show.
There might be cars like you just mentioned there. You never know. We get them calls daily.
And if you don't mind, if I can drop a little sponsor update for the Hot Rod Classic, Don Baskin Truck Sales, LLC, out of Tennessee, major marketing partner announced today. So thank you, Don Baskin. Don Baskin owns Jackson Dragway, LLC in Jackson, Tennessee.
Loves drag racing.
Man, he's like us. Everything about Don Baskin is drag racing. He just bought like 150 extra acres around Jackson, Tennessee property. He's going to make it massive. So we really appreciate having Don Baskin on board with us in multiple ways now. So thank you, Don Baskin.
Sure. Thank you, Don. And wow, buying more land for the facility. That's the opposite of what so often we're hearing these days. And that is good news for sure. Well, look, mystery classes and what these type of shows will have and these programs will have. Larry, let me go ahead and ask it because it's already in the comment section and people
I can't see no comments.
Oh, well, I got them. I'll bring it up.
That might be a good thing. That might be a good thing.
It might be. DRC asks, will Nitro return to the IHRA? Let's get it out of the way. It seems like the core of the IHRA will be the sportsman. And
Nitro in what way? Like top fuel cars and stuff?
What way do you envision, if at all?
Well, I'd tell you nitro cars ain't in the plans here. I'm not saying a Nitro Pro Mod ain't in the plans. I'm just going to tell you that. But as far as we're going to focus on the sportsman racer. That's what we set out to do, and that's what we told everybody was going to do, and nobody believed us. You know, they all, if I can cuss, they all talk shit behind our back, you know, saying I was going to change this and do that. And you asked me what makes me, am I the right guy to do this? I don't know if anybody's the real right guy, you know. I mean, we just love racing, and Mel's the right guy. I just like drag racing. There's too much to do here for one person. There's not one person you could ever ask to say, are you the right guy? There's no one right guy. There's no one right person for this. This is a team effort. And if you're not a team, it won't work without a team.
Yeah, it fascinates me, the thought that is out there that, so look, I love Nitro drag racing, obviously, but you don't have to have Nitro for drag racing to be successful. There are plenty of examples of drag racing without nitromethane being burned that it's going stupendously well. And the sportsman needs a place where they are going to be put on a pedestal for sure and showcase.
That's right. You know, just like us, you know, trying to step up and getting sponsors for, you know, trailers and dragsters and just trying to make it better for the sportsman racer, you know, and that's what our focus is. And making tracks, you know, helping them make money. The tracks make money, then the racers are going to make more money. And I just want to say I appreciate each and every track that stuck with us. You guys know who you are. It was tough, man. When I first bought this thing, and I heading to Eddyville, and you were already there, Mel. Mm-hmm. That was a pretty rough drive for me. You know, you think you bought something and you end up thinking you're going to have 5 or 6 tracks and everybody bailing and you're wondering why, you know, and I understand, you know, they'll be back. We talk to several on a daily basis. You know, I'm grateful that the racers stuck with us. I'm grateful that the racetracks stuck with us. I'm grateful for the ones that didn't stick with us because I think they see what we're doing, and I think it's going to change next year. I think people's going to really see another big swing in things. So I just want to thank the tracks that did stick with us and my whole team, Mel, Heather, everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And one awesome thing is we didn't sit on our laurels over here. We upped the ante for our Sportsman World Championship. I mean, we went out, we got a dragster from Ezell Race Cars. We got a golf cart from Darts Carts. We got a trailer. I mean, like a $30,000 trailer from Flying A Motorsports. We got a flatbed trailer from B&C Trailer Services and an Evil Swing Arm. We added a motorcycle class for the World Championship because, as one of the guys in our on one of our posts today says, you know, drag bikes matter. Well, they do matter. And another thing we do on all of our team finals and everything, we include junior dragsters. I know there's other organizations that don't, you know, on the team final part, but we know that, you know, if there's a junior dragster, most likely there's a mom or a dad that's running in one of the other classes, and they all want to run together, especially at team finals. So just excited for the future of the IHRA.
Well, I know that overall people are excited for the future of the IHRA, and they definitely want a great place to race. As I said at the start of the show, I loved running IHRA when I was in junior dragsters many years ago. It just somehow it just had a completely different feel from running the NHRA, no matter what the track was or where we were running, and loved participating in those bracket finals and being a part of the show, even as a junior dragster. One year at Steele, Alabama, I was the guy that got the most points for Ware Shoals, and we were able to rank up very highly because I went all the way to the finals at Steele, Alabama, in junior dragster. So great moments, family moments, moments that I remember to this day, and that mom remembers and dad remembers, and that's what you're talking about, recreating and giving opportunity for more than the show, more than what type of car, more than even what tracks have left or are coming in. It's
about the family.
Bingo, about the family.
People don't even know their neighbors anymore. You know what I mean? People don't even know what their kids are doing half the time. When you're at the racetrack, your kids are running around with other kids as racers, having a good time and being a kid, and learning the aspect of drag racing. And that's what we're about. We're about the family. That's what we want to be, right. Family racing.
A quick story, not to interrupt anybody, but I think the turning point for me and Larry, and this is before it was just basically me and Larry and a few others. And we had a 1-day rain delay at our world finals. Okay. And so me and Larry were, mainly Larry wanted to entertain everybody, and we entertained the everybody that was there. We walked the pits in the misty rain, handing out Sunoco gift cards to a Tesla guy, and photographing it all, and putting these racers on on Facebook, on social media, just knowing that hey, we appreciate you guys sitting around here the whole day in the rain. But it made me and Larry realize these guys are here. They traveled from Canada everywhere to come to this race to become a world champion, and for me and Larry to be able to spend a complete day doing dumb stuff, because we did some dumb stuff. Larry can enhance that if you want.
Well, that's me. I do dumb stuff, so but that's pretty easy for me.
And I think that let the racers that were there realize, hey, these guys are us. These guys are dumb like us. We do racing. It's like what we waste our money racing. Technically, if you really think about it, a lot of people do. They put it on their credit card because why? It's what they love to do. And if you love to do something, you'll do whatever it takes to get to that race and become a world champion. And like I said, I'm honored that Larry thinks so highly of me, and we'll bring him to the promised land.
What's cool about sportsman racing is it don't matter if you got a $200,000, $300,000 top sportsman car or whatever, but come there in a damn rental car and race and win some money or just have a good time. It don't matter, Yep. The world finals, that was awesome meeting, just all different genres of people that, let's face it, everybody in drag racing is trying to go as fast as they can on the budget they have. So you can have more fun or just as much fun in a 10-second bracket car than I'd love to go rounds in a bracket car all the time, and instead of working on something every round. I just never had the opportunity to do it. I bought probably 3 bracket cars in the last 3 years wanting to go do it, and sold them all because I just don't have time, but it's something that I would really love to do. I enjoy it and I respect it. And I respect everybody that has a bracket car because, a lot of people bitch about bracket racing if they got a fast car, but I've learned to respect it. And it's hard for someone to run dead on or, go double on a tree, or it don't matter if you got a pro mod or what you got. Let's just get out there and go racing and have a good time. And one thing I would like to say, it don't matter what sanctioning body you are. If you go out to a racetrack, my kids know it don't matter where you go. If they see trash on the ground, pick it up. My kids know better. They won't walk by a racetrack and see trash on the floor. Just if everybody just pitch in a little and help out, owning a racetrack is a lot of work for a little bit of reward most of the time, and just be a little more appreciative. That's all.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, be appreciative. Again, someone doesn't have to own a track, and it's often a scenario that until something goes wrong, you don't hear from anybody on anything until it has gone wrong. You don't hear the thank you, we appreciate you, those type of things.
Mhm.
So certainly take the time, value your track. Don't mess the bathrooms up and so
Right.
on. Don't tear the facility up. Remember, folks, someone's got to fix that, and someone's got to take care of it. Someone's got to repaint it. Someone's got to work on it. And also to track owners, take care of your stuff as well. I've been to plenty of tracks where it's like, wow, this is rough. So it does go both ways. But man, if you've got a nice facility that you go to, take care of it for sure.
Appreciate the person in the tower, man. That's a hard job.
Mhm.
That's a super hard job. I wouldn't want to, I think every drag racer needs to go work in the tower one night. Put your dial-ins on where you can see it. You know what I mean? Instead of sitting there cussing at the person up in the tower because your dial-in's wrong, but you can't see it because it's on the other side. I don't know. Just it all goes back to just appreciating everybody. It's hard for an owner to go in there and they try to keep their bathrooms nice. And I've never understood why you're a man and you go in the bathroom and someone pissed all over the toilet seat. Like, come on, man. That's just ignorant. Let's just take care of stuff. Appreciate being there. Appreciate there is a bathroom.
You gotta love Larry Jeffers. Gotta love him.
It's practical stuff though, and it is real.
No, it is. It is. Nobody says it
yeah,
though.
Yeah,
I get it.
Look, there's a symbiotic relationship with racer to track owner, vice versa, and both have got to be appreciated. And even if something doesn't quite go your way as a racer, remember you've got a place to race,
right,
wherever that is. You've got a sanctioning body that gives you a safe place to race with a rule set and heaven forbid if anything goes wrong that can come to your aid and those type of things. Yeah, remember that. It's important for sure. And with that being said, and talking about tracks and owners and appreciation, Mel, there's been news recently of tracks joining IHRA, tracks joining WDRA, flying, I believe, Flying H, drag strip up there around Missouri. They have joined NHRA, Pine Valley, NHRA. Why should a track entertain joining the IHRA at this time as a sanctioning body?
Well, first of all, we respect the tracks. We promote the tracks. We want the tracks to be able to grow as one, and the being able to get a hold of us. If they have a problem, we're here. We all of our team that Larry mentioned before, from Doug Foley, he's the Eastern Divisions Director. We got Cody Pelage as the Southern Division Director. Christopher Eager, Northern Divisions Director. Paige Hamlin. She's she does everything from track relations to racer relations. We can get a hold of us, and we're not saying that didn't happen before, but usually when your sanction was due, here you are. We're here asking for your money, and that's another thing that me and Larry did when we first took this over is we, even though this is a big financial hit to Larry, but we don't charge sanctioning fees, and we're not going to start charge sanctioning fees. We want our tracks to partner with us. We want them to support us as much as we're going to support them. And from social media plugs to showing their IHRA logo on their winner circle and stuff like that. That's what's going to help us get more members and be able to continue to bring more programs to the table. Man, it's just, like I said, the sky's the limit with becoming an IHRA track. And like I said, we have a lot we're talking to. We know it's June, so it's kind of hard to introduce the new tracks in June. But man, there's going to be some jaw droppers pretty soon. So.
All right, spectacular. I'll throw this one out. Fan question here. viewer question. Wilton Maxey says, what about stock and super stock for IHRA hot rod classics? Where do they fit in, or do they fit in at all in the hot rod classics in the IHRA?
That's one of the burning questions. We want to grow within our means. So when you want to grow within your means, we don't want to add something that we're not going to be able to fully go into. Are we eventually going to have stock, super stock? That's our plan. I mean, they're in our roots, and then that's me and Larry, we just can't, if we're not going to do it right, there's no reason for us to do it. So will they be at some of these? Are we going to entertain them at as a mystery class? Very possible. But as for a whole, right now, they are basically once we get going on the hot rod classics, then we'll look for our next move. And I think Larry can agree with that. He knows that the passion that the stock, super stock, and our history with how many people are in our IHRA Hall of Fame that run stock, super stock.
Larry, your thoughts on it at all?
No, we talk about it all the time. That's probably, I don't know, we get calls and emails on this on a daily basis. We're not forgetting them. We just got to build it slowly. Don't want to promise too much, you know what I mean, that you can't back up. So
right. And we want to do it right. I mean, we don't want to, we know what we got our hands full with the Hot Rod Classic, and we know that once we get this handled, which we are, then we explore our next move, and we know what ran in our, the roots of the IHRA, and that's our goal. So we're not going to forget stock, super stock. We just can't do it right now.
So another question, this one relating to that relationship with the tracks from a sanctioning body. Eric White asks, any plans to guide and support tracks to advertise their races to their local public? Never hear radio ads or see TV commercials about racing unless it's for like an NHRA national event. So what kind of programs are out there to help these tracks understand or guide them, like, hey, this is what you do, and this is how you can help yourself and grow within your market and potentially bring more people in and have a family experience and experience drag racing for the first time? Because drag racing, as we all know on this show, as we sit and talk, it is probably, if not truly, the easiest motorsport to enter into out of them all.
Well, I know Larry can answer this because he owns a racetrack. It's very hard to advertise in a local market. I mean, it is. I mean, however, tracks that they do see, benefit from it, but it is like, it's very hard for tracks to budget this. Racers, spectators that do support their tracks, the best way for them to support them, put it on their page. Hey, I'm going to the racetrack tonight. Hey, did you see this race? I mean, that's free ways for a track to advertise without having to spend the money that you want in their purse as the racer. If you go ahead and, spend $10,000 for a race and you get a bad weather forecast, they don't get that $10,000 back. So it is a tough deal. And then, like I said, tracks call us all the time about, ways to do it. And can we use the IHRA in our promos and that? Absolutely. So like I said, we do work with some tracks, and like I said, it just, when it comes that time, it's tough for a lot of our IHRA tracks to be able to spend that money, knowing that, sometimes you ain't going to get it back.
And if you haven't seen what Mel and all of them's done to social media for IHRA, you're living under a rock. You never heard about it. You go on there, him and Paige, they're just all day long, just hitting it hard, helping racetracks, advertising for racetracks, marketing for racetracks. I mean, I don't know if you follow it, but it's pretty amazing what they've done in the last not even year. And just the hits, what was that the other day, 1.1 million or something
for
in 28 days.
28 days. So yeah, but and the social media part,
it's up 400%.
Us putting the track winners on for each one of our IHRA points races and all that, taking the time to list these racers so they get their time on a huge social media platform that the IHRA has. So a little goes a long way, and we appreciate the racers, the tracks, and our sponsors. Our title sponsors, Summit Racing. I mean, without our sponsors, without our racetracks and racers, man, we're nothing. But man, we're, like I said, we're growing, and 2024, it's going to be insane.
It's funny how a little appreciation and a little post of your car doing a wheelie makes someone feel good. You know what I mean?
Certainly. Right. I know. I mean, the group in Funny Car Chaos, they are very appreciative of Chris having me there doing what I do to go get an interview and go get their story. I mean, certainly they got to do something good or spectacular, and hopefully spectacular didn't wreck their car. But if they did, I'm going to be over there and chatting with them, and the story will be told. Telling someone's story is important, and everyone's got a story. It matters.
That's something we're working on right now too. Hopefully in the next, I don't know, probably 2 months, we're putting everything together to have IHRA live, where we go out to bracket races and just do a web thing and stream it. Ain't gonna cost anybody anything. You go there, and I want to anybody that came to the World Finals knows I was good at getting up in the tower and going down in the staging lanes with a mic and getting people talking shit on each other, and that's what's fun. You know what I mean? Get some rivalries back, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make it fun again.
Right. Look, I completely agree, and there are so many great characters in drag racing that are not at a professional category. They're in a sportsman slant, if you will. I think of McNeil Freeman, and he drives around that taxi cab, and he goes with the theme and runs with it, and just a guy that is living life. And he'll tell you, I'm living the dream, and today's the best day. And he's like, I wish everybody was here to live it along with me. And those people are out there, and their stories need to be told. So yeah, more storytelling and more exposure, the better.
Yep.
With that being said, about the live, we do have Clark. He's mentioned he'd love to see Motor Mania stream the Super Series race as well as each of the ET finals. So yeah, what does it look like for the future with streaming being as big as it is for everybody, in particular for the IHRA? I know at one time, I haven't looked in a while, but the IHRA did have a YouTube channel, but not much was done with it.
We're working on that. We're working on that right now, trying to get control back of everything, and I think we're pretty much there. So we're working on everything you're saying. It just takes time. And I know most people don't realize it, but whenever I took this deal over, I got nothing. We didn't have phone numbers to racetracks. We didn't have anything. So this has been a total rebuilding process. And like I said, I appreciate everybody that stuck with us. I appreciate Mel. He went out on the road. I mean, we got stuck with this thing with no help in the most hardest time to do this, whenever the finals and World Finals was happening. But if there was odds in Vegas, nobody thought we would have pulled it off. And we did, and we had a good time, and we didn't let nobody down. So had a couple tracks that acted like assholes, but that's all right.
We said that I just saw Wilkesboro Dragway is in the house. So
thank you guys.
Paul Salvador, thank you. Support.
Wilkesboro Dragway, neat little facility out there in. I'm assuming it is one of the one in North Carolina. It's only Wilkesboro I know of. Very neat little facility.
Oh, yeah.
They got a great little concession hall with like a pool hall in it, and you're in the midst of the hills of North Carolina. Great little facility for sure. So Paige is asking a question. Larry,
we don't want to answer her.
Who is your IHRA team member? We got an inside joke going on here.
Who's my team member? I mentioned all of them. Tell her to be more specific. It's everybody. It's pretty cool though. When just like today, out of the blue, I'm driving down the road delivering some stuff, and Wes Clapp from Knoxville calls me. Hey, what's going on, man? I hope you come to one of these.
Favorite.
It's all
favorite team member, Larry.
They my favorite team member.
Yeah,
I have to say my fiance Kelly. I gotta say that, Paige. I don't have a favorite, man. We're all in this together.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it without any of them. Paige, I mean, everybody. Heather's a trooper, man. You got 5 kids and 2 new babies, and you got to deal with Mel, live with him. She gets the Superwoman award. Does all the membership. I mean, it's everybody. It ain't one person. It's everybody but me. I don't do anything.
All right. Well, get back to your story, Larry. Get back to your story.
Which story?
You're driving down the road.
Oh, just track owners calling you out of the blue. You know what I mean? They said, we've never done that. You just call out just to talk about anything. They'll call and talk about family stuff or just normal stuff. I mean, I don't think you're going to get that with any other sanction. We're just you guys. We ain't no different. We ain't no different than you guys. We're just trying to make something really good again. And we got to do it, together,
Yeah.
I'll put my clothes on no different than you. And, it's still about respect. It don't matter if you're a janitor or you work for NASA. You know what I mean? Just treat people how you want to be treated. That's it.
There you go. And I just saw Larry Doty is our sportsman world champion last year. So welcome to the broadcast, Larry Doty.
Ask Larry how many times I'll message him or we'll messenger each other. Or that's just what it's about, man. It's about having fun and going racing and just appreciating people. So maybe next time you're at a racetrack somewhere, let the track owner know how much you appreciate them having that place for you.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
And that appreciation will come back to you. So,
yeah, I firmly believe in that. I have.
We take so much shit for granted, man.
Oh, way too much, And I mean, how many times have we seen it? The post of a track closed, and it's like, this is what happens when you badmouth a track or you don't support your track or whatever negative you want to put in there, and it's gone. For sure, there can be issues, but support your local track.
How about this? Even though it don't matter what sanctioning body, let's try this for a year. Every time you go to races, say something good about the track you were just at, and don't talk no shit for a year. Let's see where we're at.
That's a good challenge.
Just talk good about it, man. No matter what. Even if you didn't have a good time, say you had a good hamburger or something. Say something good.
And our Hall of Fame track, Darlington, Jeff Miles watching the broadcast too. So welcome IHRA's Hall of Fame track, Darlington, the legendary.
Hopefully you didn't tear up that wagon.
Oh.
Yeah,
hi, Jeff.
Another legendary facility that
absolutely
is steeped in door car culture and has had records set and records stand, and been there myself a couple of times, and wonderful facility just down the road from the big circle track, and interesting area, and in an area that honestly, those tracks, they're the highlight of that area. There's not much going on in Darlington, South Carolina, other than racing.
Yeah,
and
that'd be awesome to live out there.
I mean, I don't think people realize how important their local track can be sometimes. Remove it, and there's nothing in some of these communities. It is the hub. It is the place to be.
Yep, absolutely.
And just realize as a racer, these tracks ain't making all kinds of money. It's hard to make ends meet, I hate it when you're at a racetrack and they say 30 cars show up and we'll pay $2,000 and there's 34 cars and instantly everybody's like, hey, you're gonna pay us more money because you got more cars. You don't hear them say, hey, when there's 25 cars, are you gonna pay us less? Like, let's just work together, man, and try not to bitch about everything. How about that? Just have a good time, go racing, bring your family out.
All right, we should have put that disclaimer up that Larry was going to drop a curse word or two. At least he's kept the clean ones. So
the cleaner ones, that's fine. No worries. Look, I appreciate the realism, if you will. Man, just appreciate. It amazes me how quickly people will slant toward the negative.
All the time, man.
There is a lot to be appreciative, and remember, you're at a drag strip. It can't be that bad.
No.
You're at a drag race, all right? You're either off work or you're doing well enough in life that you can set your schedule and go racing and have a car, or you've got the means to rent a car, however the situation is, and you are racing or you are in media and getting paid to be there or whatever it might be. It's not that bad. Remember that. You
I
know,
always say, as long as you ain't in the hospital and your kids ain't in the hospital, you're doing pretty damn good.
right, right. So yes, you might have lost first round. I know that sucks, and you might have red lighted, whatever it might be, but you still were racing.
Correct.
That's right.
And the track might not have every amenity that you might want, but you're still out there racing. You still got a track to race at.
Yeah.
So on and so on and so on. So yeah, a little bit of appreciation goes a long way. And Larry, look, it's good to hear from you and that you've got that appreciation for the sportsman and for the sport. You are an individual that you reach deep in the sport and you have a passion for it. And
We love it.
You love it. Well, I want to know, because I don't know your story that well, but how did you get into drag racing? Why are you in it today?
That's a long story. How long is this? I don't know, man. When I was growing up, my dad had a little street car, and we never really, it wasn't fast. You know what I mean? I mean, he thought it was fast, but never had no money. Went to like 14 different schools, moving all over the place, and had one job my whole life at a body shop for 13 years, and just started I cut up one of my buddy's cars one night and said, first we're going to put a roll cage in it. And I didn't even have a tubing bender or a notcher. I didn't have anything. And put a cage in a car and back halved it for a buddy of mine. And it was going to run like 12 seconds. That's what he wanted to do. And then he ended up buying some 540 motor and took it over to Gateway and went like 920s on the first hit. I was so damn scared. I didn't even go to the racetrack. I really didn't think it'd hold together. And I think I got into it because I couldn't afford to pay anybody to do it. And I loved it, and I'd work my normal job from 8 o'clock till 4:30 and then work in my garage from 6 o'clock till 2 or 3 in the morning. Did that my whole life. I'd do a side job and buy an air compressor and do a side job. And I loved the racing, and I loved the people that was involved in racing. And I guess I got into it because I couldn't afford to have it done. So I had to do it myself.
Well, it seems like you're still doing that right now, doing it yourself, taking on the ownership of the IHRA, putting a good team together and saying, let's give it a future and a future for the sportsman racer. Mel, I know your story a little bit better. You've been in this for a long time from many different angles. And I know you're with the IHRA right now, but what's still on your plate? And what's the future look like for you and all your other endeavors that you may have?
Well, my endeavors are getting less. I started Pacific Streetcar Association 24 years ago out in California. I mean, it's, relationships and that from running an organization for that long is amazing. That PSCA has now gone to Denver. Unfortunately, as everyone knows, Bandimere is going to close at the end of this year. So we don't know where that chapter is going to go. And then I've done what they call my big race, Streetcar Super National Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're in the 18th year. It's just a huge race. We moved the date this year because IndyCar, or Formula One, took our race weekend in November. So now we're the weekend before the NHRA Vegas Nationals. I believe that's Las Vegas Nationals. So it's going to change the culture of that race. By bringing a whole new crowd in, because now instead of having to go there when it's super cold, now we hopefully are going to have a decent weather forecast, run a little later in the night. But my dad, growing up, I was taken home from the hospital, 65 Mustang GT, true story. I have the clone of that car that my dad built in my shop. My dad passed away 20 some years ago. And I got that car. We'll never get rid of it. It just means so much to me that my dad built it and I was able to inherit that car. But I went to San Fernando Dragway back in the 60s, not even knowing, I don't even remember it, but I know it, but I was there. So from Southern California, from Lions, from all them tracks that are no longer here, I was lucky enough to be able to grace their property, and like I said, I'm lifelong drag racer, and my kids, my 5-year-old MacGyver, man, he is a nut. He's a drag racing nut, and that's what I like. It's what we do, and it's all Larry does. It's all I do. We're at racetracks. We live it, we breathe it, and then with IHRA, man, we're going to make it great again. I mean, period.
I like those goals for sure. Look, last question I'm going to throw at you. Thank you guys for your time. I've held y'all a little bit longer than I typically hold guests, but
thank you.
You know, it's been good, and I know people have been wanting to hear from Larry, hear from Mel, hear from the IHRA. More and more, the better. Todd Sinclair asks, hey, could y'all kind of go through the format of the Hot Rod Classic, like a full weekend deal? What does Saturday and Sunday look like? Will it be divisional race, national event? You know, what is it going to look like, the nuts and bolts and the practicality of it?
Go ahead, Mel. You're the one on that one. Only thing I can tell you is we don't ever want to race on Sunday. We want you to go home with your family.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, our goal, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Thursday, a test and tune, and probably like a gambler's race on Thursday. We haven't set anything in stone because each racetrack is going to be different. But we are going to do a national points deal, crown a champion at the end of the year, in those classes that are listed, except for the mystery class, because that'll be just a pick and choose class at each particular track. And then we do have a no time class, which it's amazing the response you can get from a no time class. Just a real quick thing on a no time class, kind of like all steel, all glass, but with some engine rules, no billet blocks, no billet heads, to keep the cost down somewhat. I mean, we know you can still, there's the classes right there. Appreciate that. So we will have, in Top Sports and Top Dragster, Quick Rod, Hot Rod, Super Rod, those are going to be our world championship classes along with real steel. And then Top ET Mod, the juniors, that's going to be, each track, how they, it's going to be an individual deal. We're going to have these custom, these black Iron Man. The one's sitting there, it's kind of all blackened out and all that. We want something that is going to be unique to this series. And as you can see in that picture, you'll see that old IHRA logo. Well, that's gonna follow that Hot Rod Classic around, because we're going back to it. So, at least one thing, when Larry bought something, we bought all the rights and the copyrights to all our old logos. So thank you, Larry, for doing that. We did get that.
Very cool. Very cool. I do also like now the IHRA logo has a bottom, because I remember the debate in the IHRA for a long time. No, you're supposed to turn the sticker because of the fin. And no, it's supposed to be.
The lines on the bottom.
Yeah, the lines on the bottom. That was always interesting, seeing someone turn the logo. Anyway, no, I love the usage of the old logo. I'm obviously not wearing it tonight, but I've got an old IHRA hat that I wore when I was in junior dragsters. My dad had it before me, and it's always a cool logo of the wireframe world and the IHRA on it, and cool to see that back. And look, cool to hear from both of you tonight, and look forward where the IHRA is going. Last thought, anything else need to cover tonight here on Between the Slicks for IHRA?
Go ahead, Larry. Do one.
Go ahead. There's nothing else that I want to really say. I just, I appreciate you for having us on here and doing what you do for this sport. I know you ain't getting rich off it. You know what I mean? Nobody's really getting. So I appreciate you.
I'm maintaining. Matter of fact, if I look at the books right now, I probably lost a little bit here recently.
Well, at least you're doing all right. You got a motel room. You ain't doing that out of a box somewhere.
I have advanced.
Or your car.
Yeah, I have advanced from sleeping in the car. It has come a long way.
Well, we appreciate you for what you do for the sport. How about that? Let's go out on you.
I appreciate
everybody.
That,
we appreciate you for what you do.
And I'd like to thank our marketing partners. Summit Racing Equipment runs our Super Series and our World Finals. Sunoco Race Fuel, Mosier Engineering, ATI Performance Products, Strange Engineering, RJS Safety Equipment, Red Tide Canopies, RacingJunk.com, LJ1 Oil Products, Fuel Tech, everywhere.
The world, power in the world.
Yeah. Champion Auto Lift, Trailer Ranch, Darana Hybrid, And then our world champion prizes, Ezel race cars, darts carts, BNC trailer services, Flying A Motorsports, Evil swing arms. I mean, we could not have done it without them. I mean, it just helping us with, like I said, we're not charging sanctioning fees. That's a big deal for a racetrack, not having to pay that, you know, X amount of money for, and then you know, not getting anything for it. Now they're getting it for free, and we're actually doing something for it. So, I mean, it sounds kind of weird. Larry's probably, you know, I don't think that was one of the other ideas. Larry didn't, you know, you start thinking, you know, man, that could be this, but when it all boils out, when these tracks start producing and getting more racers, that means we'll get more members. And we're a membership organization. It's an insurance policy for our racers. If you have a problem at any kind of at a track, you know, excess medical coverage. We also have a dismemberment thing. I mean, you hurt yourself outside the racetrack. There's another part of our insurance, deals from Summit Racing, and I mean, it goes on and on. Being a member is very important to us. Very important for a racer to, even if you don't race in the Summit Super Series, you know, having a membership and something happening at the track, and you know, you get hurt. It's like Aflac. You get hurt, they start paying you X amount of dollars a month after a certain time, you know, until you get ready to go back to work. So big deal to be a member in the IHRA, and we appreciate our membership. Our membership numbers are as high as they were before. Higher. As higher than before they were when Larry acquired it. And you know, if it's just amazing.
I think people are just getting excited. I think people are excited.
They are. Again. Yeah.
You know, you got
I'm excited.
Here, you got somebody here that ain't bean counters. You got people here that care about racing and love racing. So what other sanctioning body has that has an owner and a president, all the way down to the people working there that love drag racing and love sportsman racing? So if you're not excited about that, then you're not going to be excited. You got people here that care about you, you know, that care about the tracks and care about the racers. So I'm excited to see what we can do.
I'm excited to see it as well. And sorry, one last question I do have to ask. I can't pass up the opportunity. I know Doug Foley Jr., you said Eastern Divisional Director there as like a title, but did you also put him over the party committee? Like, if you haven't, you need to do that from what I understand. So
oh, he's on house arrest right now. We got an ankle monitor on him right now. So
hey, good luck, Doug, and your dad, Doug Foley Sr., this weekend at Norwalk. So
yeah, good luck, guys.
Yep.
I just want to thank everybody that's on this team, the IHRA team. I just want to tell them thank you, and they know I mean it. You know, I want to thank all the racetracks for sticking with us. I want to thank all the racers that race IHRA. I want to thank all the racers that race, period. I don't care if you're with us or not. You know, I'm glad you got a race car. Go out there and have fun.
Yep.
I like it. Larry, thank you for what you're doing for the sport. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
With your race car shop, everything you're doing, keep up the good work. Mel, you keep up the good work. And I've got to get to an IHRA race soon and experience what you guys have got going on. So keep me in the loop. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having us on, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
You too, man.
Bye.
Well, folks, we will take a quick break. Right after the break, we'll continue the show, wrap up the show with drag racing news, and go over what is happening elsewhere in the world of drag racing right after these words.
Power-Built Tools exemplifies innovation in the tool industry. From hand tools, power tools, and even tool storage. Check out powerbuilt.com for Power-Built Tools. And remember, use promo code MMR15 for 15% off at purchase.
In drag news, very quickly, we'll wrap up the show. We'll give you some recap and also some looking ahead in the world of drag racing here on Between the Slicks. So, the Wally Parks NHRA Nostalgia Nationals wrapped up last weekend at Beach Bend Raceway. First time I'd ever been to Beach Bend Raceway. I took the time to stop in Thursday on my way to Cordova Dragway to cover Funny Car Chaos, the Summer Nationals there at that esteemed facility. And what a great facility Beach Bend is in its own right. You have to visit it. If you've never been to Beach Bend Raceway, there in Bowling Green, Kentucky, you have got to go. Iconic with the covered grandstands, and I had never had anyone mention that on the spectator side grandstand that the seating is old stadium seating from the ballpark, and the ballpark, well, their name's the Hot Rods, the minor league team, and old seating is now at the drag strip, so interesting connection there. Just gives you the feel that you have literally stepped back in time, and that's why it's such a great place that the NHRA had the Wally Parks NHRA Nostalgia Nationals there. The winners in those classes, I'm going to borrow from my good buddy, Darren Williams Jr., American Hot Rod Entertainment. If you want to get a great full recap of what happened at that event, check out his show, Kings of the Sport, on American Hot Rod Entertainment, the YouTube channel, Facebook page, and you will get the lowdown. He actually had the winners on and chatted with them about their wins. Bobby Cottrell and the Mean Green Machine, the Buckies, they got it done once again in Funny Car. That makes it a win at the NHRA Thunder Valley Nationals for them. They roll on into Bowling Green, Kentucky, and they win there as well. They just keep on winning in this Bad Fast Neo Nostalgia Funny Car. And then Mr. Hilton, Tyler Hilton, gets it done in the Great Expectations Top Fueler there at Beach Bend Raceway. And then some native South Carolinians, Dan Bettanito, he wins in the fuel altered class in the beautiful Rat Poison out there at Beach Bend Raceway for the Wally Parks NHRA Nostalgia Nationals. If you want a full rundown of all the other winners, again, check out my buddy Darren Williams Jr., American Hot Rod Entertainment. He's also the assistant editor for Competition Plus. Check out his show, his channel, and you can get a full rundown of the winners of that event. Speaking of Funny Car Chaos, as Grim Adam mentions, I was there, pit correspondent for Funny Car Chaos, and we had a spectacular show for the Summer Nationals. Second time that Funny Car Chaos was at Cordova for the Summer Nationals, and the show, I think, was bigger. I think it was better, and it was hard to certainly improve on last year, but I think that was done with 32 funny cars qualified over 4 fields, rolling into eliminations, and storylines abounded. There was a point shakeup right from round 1 between Tom Furchess, who was second in points, and Alex Barker, who was first in points in the C field. You've got the big bad nitro cars such as Mark White and Joey Haas competing it out all the way down to the final. We had first-time winners in 2 fields, points change, spectacular runs by the nitro cars. I mean, it was a great show. We'll give you a rundown really quick of the winners there from the Summer Nationals Funny Car Chaos. Neil Garreau in Twist and Shout. He gets it done in the D field, his first ever Funny Car Chaos win in a Beretta-bodied funny car. You don't see that very often. Talked to him last night on Chaos Live. Unique combination in this machine. It's like a 393 cubic inch blown Hemi, something like that. Very strange. You have to go watch Chaos Live from last night on the Funny Car Chaos YouTube channel to get the full story. We were able to chat with him. Tom Furchess, you'll notice that number 2 on his funny car body. He finished second last year in the Funny Car Chaos points, and he routinely is a top runner in the points and consistently runs well in the C and the B fields. He won in the C field in the Summer Nationals at Cordova Dragway and did it on his birthday. He got the birthday win, and he also took the points lead. That is a solid victory for sure. Robbie Massey, he picked up the win in the B field. at Funny Car Chaos Cordova Summer Nationals. His first win in chaos competition, though he is no stranger to the funny car world. Certainly glad to see him back out in the funny car, and they are running well. Just the second race out in Funny Car Chaos competition in 2023. And then one heck of a driver, Joey Haas. Matter of fact, we might just have him on next week. I've got to chat with him. He overcame the funky parachute issue they've been having where it just dumps the laundry at the hit, though they have changed things over and worked on things and tried to figure it out. Well, he preached consistency. They had it all the way through to the final, had low ET of the meet, and got the win. It would definitely be great to see Mr. Haas and the Nimrod team competing regularly in Nitro or Funny Car Chaos and see what they could do in the points. They have got that nitro burner running well and running right. Might just have to talk to him next week. So that is the rundown of the competition there in Cordova for the Summer Nationals. You can see more action on the Funny Car Chaos YouTube channel. You can catch the streams live on Flow Racing. So if you're not a subscriber to flowracing.com, do so. And if you're not a subscriber to the Funny Car Chaos YouTube channel, we'll swing by after the show, hit that subscribe button. Content will be rolling out. By the way, good to hear Larry and Mel mention that they're trying to work out for the IHRA YouTube channel and have a presence there as well. That's good to hear. Very good to hear of what they are doing. The PDRA, they were in action this past week at Maryland International Raceway, and we'll take a quick moment to look at the winners for that as well. I do got to upload a few more here, and so you can see those winners. Maryland International Raceway, what a great facility it is, a great place to showcase great door slammer racing that the PDRA does offer. Marcus Butner, he gets the win. Excuse me, wrong picture. That picture gets the win in Pro Nitrous, first time winner in PDRA Pro Nitrous competition. Did it over Jim Halsley in the final round. Ken Cortosio, believe I'm saying his name correctly. He gets the win in Pro Boost. Remember, the PDRA, they separate Pro Nitrous and they separate the boosted cars, and they run distinctly against one another in two separate classes. I like how the PDRA does that. It creates great storylines and very close competition, though they could run together, and we'll talk about them running together in just a few moments. And then Tony Gillig, he gets the win in Extreme Pro Stock, a.k.a. Mountain Motor. And he is no stranger to the winner's circle in that beautiful GXP Pontiac, getting the job done there. And then Doug Nickel winning in Pro 632. If I remember correctly, the stat, that was his first PDRA win in Pro 632. So first-time winners there at Maryland International Raceway, and then those that are certainly accustomed to winning as well in the professional categories of the PDRA. The PDRA will also have and participate in the Virginia Motorsports Night of Fire coming up on July 22nd. That's just around the corner. The PDRA Pro Stars, they will be out, and that is where you'll be able to see Pro Nitrous and Pro Boost run together. The top stars of the PDRA duking it out, showcasing how great the Professional Drag Racers Association is in its racing. And that Night of Fire event for Virginia Motorsports Park, it is one that I would certainly like to catch. They will showcase an 8-car field, if I remember correctly, of nitro-injected dragsters, A-fuel cars, and there will also be top fuelers match racing as well, such as Scott Palmer, Larry Dixon, Artie Allen, others, I believe, to be named. So you're going to be a good show for this Night of Fire at Virginia Motorsports Park. If you're in the area, you need to check it out for sure. And, you know, I want to say this about shows as well. We all know that Bandamere, this is the last year, and everybody looks to the national event as the race to catch. And I understand that. But they do have other events, and their Jet Car Nationals is going to be that first weekend in July. So if you're looking for an opportunity to go to Bandamere, that just might be the right time for you to get there. So I wanted to throw that out there in support of the Bandameres and Bandamere Speedway. If If you can't make the national event, maybe go check out the Jet Car Nationals. Well, this weekend, obviously a big drag race happening just down the road from me, as I am now still in Indiana, but in Ohio. They're in Norwalk, Ohio at Summit Motorsports Park. The Summit NHRA Nationals will be taking place, and the NHRA National event, as of right now, and it looks like the entry list for Top Fuel, 20 top fuelers will compete. 17 funny cars will be in competition. Healthy fields in Pro Stock Motorcycle, Pro Stock, Pro Mod as well. And I've been following closely this year the alcohol ranks. Listen to this. Listen to this. Alcohol dragster. We're talking about, as I saw and counted, and there's a long list. I may have miscounted by one or two. 23, and then I saw a post by Jackie Frick mentioning 24. So 24 dragsters are going for 16 spots at Norwalk. And we're talking about also, you look at the entry list, there are some heavy hitters there. Julie Natus, the national points leader, will be there in competition, and she is the one that won the regional there just a couple of weeks ago, the Cavalcade of Stars event, which if you want to see the eliminations of that event, that is on my YouTube channel, Monday Morning Racer, and you can see round by round action and also hear from the drivers as well as I take the time to interview the drivers and tell their stories. It's not just cars going down the track. And you have Tony Stewart. He will be in competition as well as others. For example, there is some West Coast representation in Norwalk. Keep your eye on the points in Top Alcohol Dragster and Top Alcohol Funny Car, because the West is about to come in force and points will be collected for those divisions. 14 funny cars. Now, yes, not a full field, but by today's standards and comparing it to other national events, that is a healthy national event field as of right now for Top Alcohol Funny Car, the way things are in Top Alcohol Funny Car in the NHRA. And we are talking about names such as Sean Bellemere, Bob McCosh, Matt Gill, and Doug Gordon are going to be duking it out for this national event title. So huge points implications on the line, going to go down in Norwalk in the alcohol classes. So keep your eye on that. Remember, Pro Mod, it's effectively their last regular season race at Norwalk, with them having their own form of the countdown chase scenario, if you will, in drag racing. So a lot on the line at Norwalk. It's halfway mark for the FlexJet Factory Stock Showdown in NHRA competition. And yes, I remember someone mentioning earlier Factory X. We should be able to see them finally for the first time. Looking forward to seeing those classes in person as well. Drag racing, as usual, a lot going on. Way too much even to cover it all on this show. But it was great to hear from Larry Jeffers, owner of the IHRA, and also Mel Roth, president of the IHRA, and what they have in store. And I certainly hope the IHRA has a bright future, because a bright future for them, I think, does mean a bright future overall for the drag racer and the drag racing fan. Let me go to the comment section here really quick before we shut the show down, and we will get you all clued in. Grim Adam, are they bringing back the 57 Chevy body back to run? Oh, yes. So Joey Haas, he mentioned that in the interview with him on the top end. His dad's going to be back in that car, because that chassis, they just, change out the bodies. Yes, the American Way body is going back on it. His dad will be doing some racing and some match racing. So yes, the beautiful American Way 57 body would be back on that hot rod. Drag Racing Central says PDRA put on a great race. Drag Racing Central was there, from what I understand, at Maryland International Raceway, and taking in the great drag racing that the PDRA can put on. NHRA at Norwalk should be on 4th of July, in my opinion. Well, maybe it will be in the future. Maybe that gets worked out. But I will say this. remember that I think for Bader and team that wherever the national event lands, cool, great, but they put an emphasis on the Cavalcade of Stars event and certainly that Night of Fire event that they have. That's their big deal. Frankly, even bigger than the national event. And maybe it will be back there on 4th of July at some point. It does fit for sure. And Grim, I think you're probably referring to VMP. As far as I know, no Nitro funny cars at that Night of Fire program there at Virginia Motorsports Park. May change, though. They are continually announcing what that show will look like. It's going to be a stellar show. Well, thank you all for tuning in. I think we had a stellar show tonight. Great to talk with representatives of the IHRA. We talked with a representative of the WDRA when it was unveiling and unrolling and its inception, if you will. So, yeah, we got to get Glenn Cromwell on and chat with him. I have chatted with him, but on the Competition Plus Power Hour. And we got to get him on here, though. We can talk with President of the NHRA, Glenn Cromwell, and hear from him. Let me say this overall, because oftentimes there's bickering between the sanctioning bodies. Oh, this one's better, that one's better. Let's just all get along. And to an extent, to echo what Larry said, hey, let's just appreciate one another. And maybe we're doing it differently. Let the racers find where they want to race and do what they want to do and what they're comfortable with, but move the sport forward overall. Can that be done? Maybe it can't. Should it be strove for? I think it should be. I think there's room for the sanctioning bodies that we have. And I think there should even be working together. And let's work together to move the totality of the sport forward. That should be the goal, I think. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Hit the like button for me. Hit the subscribe button. We'll be right back here on Thursday night between the slicks, chatting with someone about drag racing. Until next time, God bless and keep the pedal to the metal. See you at Norwalk.
Race fans, the funny cars are back. Kearney Raceway Park welcomes Funny Car Chaos. Friday night and Saturday, July 7th and 8th. This is the fastest, loudest, most ground-poundingest drag race of the year. Kids 12 and under get in free, and every ticket's a pit pass. Plus, don't miss the fireworks show Saturday night. It's Funny Car Chaos at Kearney Raceway Park, July 7th and 8th. And you just gotta be there. Visit krpi.com for more info.